Hold on, I just what you said. Okay. Welcome to Rhythm and Rose Las Vegas. I'm your host, Joshua Jacob. On today's show, we have a very special guest, author Naureen Frierdich. She's here to share about her new book, Faith at a Crossroads. Welcome, Naureen.
Hey, thank you so much for having me, Josh. Appreciate it.
Oh
Excited to be
yeah.
here.
Yeah, well, thank you for coming on the show to share your testimony. And man, you're already doing some other interviews too, representing your book. So that's so cool.
Yeah.
That God's
Yeah.
opening these doors for you.
Yep. He absolutely is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, well, before we get started, I do want to get to know your story of just the journey. At what age, did you discover your relationship with Christ? I mean, it's your book's such a
Yeah.
beautiful book of just the journey from when it started. But I want to hear your side, so yeah, if you want to start with that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, a lot that essentially that's what my book is about is my journey of finding my own faith. I think so many of us are brought up in the faith that we're supposed to have or the faith of our parents. And which is great, right? Like that's the foundation. And I'm so thankful that I had that. I grew up with a Muslim mom and a Catholic dad, and I essentially then was raised Catholic with my brothers. And it was beautiful. It's a beautiful faith. It's a beautiful religion. But it was what I was just told kind of to be. And so this book is really about my journey of finding my own faith and going through that process of what that looks like. What does that mean? Is that, just going to church? Is it just being told what to believe? And yeah, so I this is my journey. It's my story, and it's meant to be encouraging and not disheartening for anyone of any religion. But it's supposed to be encouraging to go, hey, dive into things yourself, ask questions, look for those answers to discover it for you. And so, it took me, even though I was raised Catholic and I always believed in God and all of the traditions and rituals that came with that, which are beautiful. It really took me until I was in my mid 30s to have a breaking point where,
Wow.
yeah, I was finally like, oh, this is supposed to be about an actual relationship with the living, breathing God and not just going to church and standing, sitting, kneeling, reciting some prayers. This is supposed to be a personal relationship. I finally understood that that's what the cross was for. And so, yeah, but it took me till my mid 30s and some pretty heavy life things to get there. So,
Yeah. Well, before we get into that, for your journey, yeah, I totally agree. We all have to go through our own discovery of having that relationship with Christ, right? I mean,
mhm,
it may not be for everyone, everyone's free will, right? But
yeah,
but also when you have that encounter, when you have that relationship with Jesus, it really, it's like no other, where you're just
yeah,
wow, nothing else can fulfill the need of desires of certain things that we want as, human beings, but God fulfills that. He gives us that living
yeah.
water that we do need um to have to survive even in this life.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I
But
think that's
yeah,
the big thing, as I've realized, even now more so of having this relationship with
yeah,
Christ, his word says he is the way, the truth, and the life. And truth is such a big thing. And I think we live in a world where truth, people want it. They say they want it. It's hard to receive, but it's lacking also. And I have found truth in his word. Every time I need truth, that's where it stems from. And truth is love and it's forgiveness and it's kindness. And so, yeah, I'm not knocking any other faiths or religions. It's just my journey. It's
yeah,
my path. It's my journey. And,
the journey.
and the way that I found it was so, uh, in such a radical form that no one can take that from me.
Yeah,
Right? Like people might not understand it, they might not agree with it, but I was in such a dark place, and for me to feel him come in and take all of the things away that I was dealing with at the time, the shame,
wow,
bitterness, anger, and forgive myself for things I had done, forgive other people around me, my dad, some family members. That's not something anybody can take away. It's my story, and I appreciate other people's stories. And so that's really what this book is about, is just going, hey, this is my story. If it helps you in some way or helps somebody want to seek something or have hope, in really, really hard times and times of massive darkness, then that's what this is about.
No, yeah, no, thank you for sharing that. And yeah, your book is so cool. The fact that you have QR codes in there with your journey of,
Yeah.
I would say musical journey, because it's all like a lot of music videos
Yeah.
and certain things that ties to your life. I mean,
Yeah.
what a cool idea that you had to do that, you know?
Yeah, well, so obviously that was not my idea. That was God's
Oh,
idea.
that was
But
who idea?
it was God's. I mean, God totally planted that on my
Oh,
heart
yeah,
and gave me
okay.
the idea of the QR codes. But
Nice.
it's funny because in the beginning of my journey, and obviously we have a short amount of time here, so people will have to read the book to really understand the ins and outs of
Yeah.
everything. But in the beginning, so it was actually my husband at the time. We're not divorced, but my husband at the time was the one who first found his journey with Jesus,
Okay.
and he would listen to Christian music. I would come home and Christian music would be playing, and I'm like, absolutely not. We're not doing this. We're not going there. Nope, 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 nope.
Wow. Can you
This
turn
has
Amy
gone.
Grant off,
Yeah.
please? Can you turn off Michael W.
I
Smith?
know.
I don't want to hear that.
Seriously, like it was all these, and
Yeah.
I was like, even though it's like kind of hip, I'm like, no, it's
Like, no,
still
put some
for
Brooks and
somebody
Dunn
who's
and Three Doors
yeah,
Down,
right,
please.
right,
Yeah.
exactly, exactly, which is what we would listen to, up
Of
until this
course.
point. Yeah, and now it's so second nature to me. Like
Yeah.
that's what I listen to all the time. But at the time when somebody's not living in that space and in that truth, it
Mm,
sounds so foreign. Even hearing somebody say the name Jesus can make people cringe or turn people off so extremely.
mm,
And I mean, even being raised Catholic, which does truly believe in Jesus and the resurrection and the cross and all the things, hearing his name still always kind of made me cringe. I don't know why. It's like a good versus evil, I guess.
really? Wow.
And yeah, and so when I would hear him playing Christian music, I'm like, no, we're not doing this. This
Wow.
has gone too far. Now you're a Jesus freak. You're all these things,
And then the song
and it's
Jesus Freak came on from DC Talk.
right, right,
He's like, hold
exactly.
on, let me
Yes,
play
yes,
this.
yeah,
That's right, I
very
am. I'm
nicely
Jesus
done.
Freak.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, nicely done.
Thanks. Yeah.
But no, I mean, but music then ended up being the exact thing that God used to grab a hold of me. I mean, and in unconventional ways. It was
Wow.
through Mumford and Sons, through a Mumford and Sons album, and then slowly it was through other music. And so as I'm writing the book, and I'm thinking about how much music really triggered me and it really transformed me, and how God has now used worship music, the thing that I once despised when my husband was listening
Mm,
to it in our garage, now is my thing. Like I will
wow.
not miss worship at church because it's my connection, my direct connection really to God. Um, and so as I was walking and writing this book, I'm like, how can I incorporate
Hmm.
this into my story? What, just speak to me. What would be fun? And literally, I just had this thought of do a song. Like there were so many songs throughout my journey. Like I can't even pick how many songs, but each chapter does truly, I really reflected on it. Like what was going on in my life and what song was I clinging to? Because I cling to music to get me through stuff. And
Wow.
so I was like, okay, we'll do a QR code. And then I was like, well, that's kind of boring, just a QR code. Like, how can we make it more fun? So God then planted this image of doing a QR code in a dandelion, and that story came from a friend of mine who had looked at me and said, "Hey, when I talk to you, God gives me this image of a dandelion and the seeds being, thrown in the wind and tossed in the wind and planting seeds." And so that's how all that
Wow.
transpired. And it was a totally God orchestrated thing.
That is so cool. Yeah. And I encourage those to want to read her book. Please do it. Not just because of the QR codes, but her testimony.
But
But yeah.
but if nothing else, the QR codes are kind of
Yeah,
cool.
yeah,
So
they're cool. I'm like, oh, what's next? Let's check out this music video. And then you're like, okay, I'm done with this song. Let me read.
yeah, yeah,
That's so
yeah.
cool.
Breaks it up a little bit,
Yeah, it does. Yeah. You're like, wow,
Yeah.
that song was so encouraging. Okay, let me read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Love
Well,
it.
let's get into your book. So, like, okay,
Mhm.
so you found your relationship with Christ, and then from there, you said you were married at one point where he was really
Mhm.
playing the Christian music, and you were like, nope. And then now the roles flipped where you're a Jesus freak, and so now,
Yeah.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
a Jesus freak too. Okay, guys, so
I am a Jesus freak. I'm
Jesus
good.
freak. Now we're gonna play the song right after this from DC
Yes.
Talk. Yeah. Anyway. But yeah, so let's go into the journey now of it's okay, just share what you want to share on that, but
Yeah.
the struggles now of the hardship with your ex from that whole point of view with your relationship with Christ, and then now things have turned with the tables. So
Yeah, I think my heart behind writing this book again was so God ordained and him speaking to me and putting people into my life at the time that was saying, "Listen, share your story." Because it's not a great, phenomenal story. People have been through far more tragic things than I have been through, but it's relatable, and I
Mhm.
think we tend to be quiet about some of the more relatable things that we go through, especially as Christians. As a Christian woman, going through divorce is hard. I mean, you go through all of the judgment, especially of going, oh, well, she's such a Jesus follower and she wants to be bold and proclaim this and that, but then she's going to get a divorce and she's a single mom. And why is she doing that to her kids? And it's a big, I think it's a big topic that goes very unspoken for a lot of women. And there's so much shame that comes in that. And it wasn't like my marriage was abusive, as far as um, physically or, emotionally necessarily. It wasn't anything like that. Um, but I think there are just things in my life that I've walked through that God has really gotten me through that I want to tell people, hey, when you have nothing else to lean on and you have no one else to lean on, He's always there. And
Mhm.
it takes a lot of patience. You're not going to get the answer overnight, no matter how bad we want it, because our timing is different than God's timing. But if you
Yeah.
can sit in that and you can sit still with Him even when you don't hear him, there is always a lesson. And you can always
Mhm.
look back. And one day, it might be months, it might be years, you can go, oh, this makes sense now.
Mhm.
And so, that's the journey of, especially, God saved our marriage once. And so then the second go around, we were great for years, then not so great. And so the second go around, that was my struggle, was I was like, I don't get it. I don't
Mhm.
get it, God. Like, you saved our marriage once. Like, you came in, radically changed us, saved our marriage.
Yeah.
You can do it again. Like, you are the God of miracles. You move mountains. You can do this. And when that didn't happen, I waited years and years and years. And I think that's what some people, you never know, right? What's going on behind closed doors.
Right. Well, true. Yeah.
Yeah, and so I don't think a lot of people know, we wanna put on the happy face, what was internally going on for 4 years prior to me making that decision. And it was a lot of prayer of going, "Change my heart, change his heart. You fixed us once, fix us again. I know you can do it." And it didn't happen.
Wow.
And, then there's all the shame and the struggle, and, there was a moment, we were separated, and
Mhm.
there was a moment I was laying in bed, and I couldn't make the decision to actually divorce until I knew in my soul that God was somehow giving me okay, which again, struggle, right? Because as a Christian, like, we know what the Bible says, we know what his word says, which is he doesn't want divorce. So then, it's this constant battle,
Yeah. It's oh my God. Yeah.
constant battle.
Constant.
And yeah, and so one morning I just felt him kind of speak to me and say, yes, marriage is a covenant, but I also created all of my children to have free will. And with your free will, you choose how you treat people, how you treat a spouse, the decisions you make. And decisions do have consequences.
Mhm.
And while we understand as humans consequences of this earth, God also gives us consequences of conviction and things in his world. And that was the moment where it was like this release where he was like, okay, I'm letting you, you've done everything that I've called you to do as a wife, and that's not been reciprocated. So I'm releasing you from this. And in that
Wow.
moment I was like, okay, I can walk away. And I didn't know what that looked like. It was terrifying. It was
Oh, I
freeing. It was,
bet.
all the things.
Right.
Yeah. But I have never, I've never felt judgment from anyone. I'm not saying that people don't judge me for it, right? Because I mean, the world is the world. But when you are so secure in who you are
Mm.
in the Lord, and you know that He's given that to you and He's spoken to you directly, I don't care what anybody else thinks then.
Yeah.
My convictions have to come from Him.
Right.
So,
That's
yeah. But
incredible. He gave you that freedom to decide where you feel at peace.
yeah,
Because I
yeah.
mean, not having peace is the worst ever to feel. So if you're gonna
It
make a
is.
decision and you have, no peace, it's even torment. But for him to give you that
It
peace,
is.
that answer that you've been searching for to release you, and then when you decided to do that and you have peace despite everyone saying what they want to say, you still are grounded in that peace,
Yeah.
remembering he gave you the green light to say, go ahead.
It is. It is peace. I mean, there's
Yeah.
a lot of times where I've had to really seek peace, and we live in a a world and a society of control. We
Mm,
want to control. We want
yeah.
everything right now. We're impatient. We want to control the situation. We want to
Yeah.
control the outcome. And this was again, people I think tend to go, "Oh, she just made a whim decision of getting divorced in a couple months." It's not true. There was years and years of
Wow.
praying behind this and waiting for an answer and
Yeah.
longing for an answer, and God wasn't giving it to me. And that's a
Oh my
hard
God.
spot to sit in for anything, and so that's what. Yes, right now I'm talking about the aspect of divorce. What I want people to like, listeners and viewers to understand is that can go for anything. That can go for, again, your financial situation. That can go toward health issues for a loved one or yourself.
Mm.
That can, like whatever miracle you're praying for, we expect like to be talking to a human that's like, I want answers right now. And
Yeah.
that's not how God
Yeah.
works. And it
Yeah.
sucks. It,
It
it
does
really stinks
suck.
on this side.
Yes.
And then to go at the end of the day, it's also his will. And it just as Jesus prayed, his will be done. Because his ways are higher than our ways. His ways are
Mm.
greater than ours. And we don't get that. We don't grasp that in this world and on this side of heaven because it's just a totally different realm. So but the point is it's to be encouraging and to go, hey, when you're at your lowest, there is somebody higher and he walks right alongside of you. He is the way, the truth, the life. He is love. He is kindness. He is forgiveness. He's all the things that are very hard on this side of our, like forgiveness. You're like, I'm not forgiving that person. I want to hate that person the
Oh
rest of
my
my life. And it's
God.
like, yeah, that's
Yeah.
fine. You can hate them, but you're going to hold a lot of bitterness in your
Oh
heart. That's
yeah.
not,
You're
yeah.
the one who's gonna suffer because
Yep.
you're not letting,
Yep.
yeah, you're not forgiving and you're holding on. So to grudges. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for sharing
Yeah.
that part of that journey. And now with your book, I mean, what's going on now? I mean, you've been doing some interviews. I mean, what's the takeoff of it with
Yeah.
this?
Yeah. So my prayer is just that God guides us where he wants it to go. I, would love to share this message with anybody and everybody I can, which is why I appreciate so much this opportunity that you reached out and asked me to be a part of this. It means a lot because this isn't about my message. It's about God's message,
Mm.
ultimately. My book isn't sharing the nitty gritties of my life. It's sharing the bigger picture. I've actually just wrapped up filming a women empowerment type TV show, so I'm excited about that. It's in the editing stages and we're
Oh, that's
waiting on that to
cool.
get picked up. Yeah,
Nice.
yeah. Yeah, it's doors that God has opened. And when you have those opportunities, sometimes you're like, what am I doing? Do I even do this? This sounds ridiculous. But you take those opportunities and you just go, hey, if this gives me a platform to
Yeah.
share what the Lord
Yeah.
has done in my life, then I'm going to take it. And if it fails, it fails. And if it's great, then it's great. What's the worst that's going to happen?
Right. At
So,
least you got the
so
experience
yeah,
too.
yeah, yeah, and just again, another avenue to be a voice,
Right.
to be his voice. So yeah, so I've been doing that, and yeah, I'm just excited to be on this journey. I actually love the unknown, because I'm
Of
like God's
course.
gonna take me wherever He wants me to go.
And
So
sometimes those the unknown are the best roads ever because
it is,
like I was mentioning to my other guests that what's meant for you will find you. And when it does find you, it goes so smoothly where it's
yeah,
not so much of a fight, it's not so much of a struggle trying to get it. It's just sometimes when you least expect it, it will come,
yeah,
where people will invite
so
you.
true.
Hey, I have this, I heard you have this. You want to come? And that's God's opening the door. He'll
Yes.
close the door and get a better one open, just like coming on Rhythm and Roads.
Yeah, right, absolutely. I mean, and it is like I think fear stops so many people
Oh
from walking
God.
through the door. Like fear is it,
Yeah,
it, it
for
is
real.
like fear is a liar. It tells you all the things, and Zach Williams' song "Fear is a Liar."
Yeah,
Like it is.
yeah. I've always wondered, like, if what fear when something comes up, right, and we have those that fear right here, and then we have the faith right here. Like, what is
Mhm.
fear? He's just like sipping on some coffee, Starbucks. looking at you, going like, "You really
Right?
want to do that? You want people to laugh at you? You sure? Hold
Yes.
on. All right. So you know what I mean? The faith on your hands, like,
Yes.
no, you better do this. This is
You
your
got this.
opportunity. You remember who's behind you. Yeah, yeah.
Yes.
So you always wonder like
Yeah.
who's on both sides, right? Fear.
It's so true. And fear can be crippling, like so crippling that it
Oh
stops so
God,
many people from such amazing
I know.
opportunities and callings that God has for
Uh,
them. And like that's my biggest thing is like that's kind of like my uh unofficial, not faith-filled motto is like I hate what ifs. I hate them. I would rather if I get an opportunity presented to me, I would rather do it no matter how terrified I am, no matter how bad I'm
yes,
shaking or sweating or
yes.
anxiety coming leading up to
Even if
it,
you throw
than to
up
go,
afterwards when you go outside, you're like, I'm
yes,
leaving the
yeah,
studio. Just do that.
yeah, than to walk away and have and go, ah,
Oh, but I did it.
what would have happened? What if I would have done that?
Yeah.
What if I would have taken that and I didn't take that
Yes.
opportunity? What if I would have said yes? What if I would have just faced the fear? Like
Mm,
life is too short to let fear consume you.
yeah.
So it's like take the chances. You start to get more comfortable being uncomfortable, as you do that. You
That's
do.
true.
I mean, it
It
takes
is
some
very
time,
true.
but
Yeah.
yeah, whatever and whatever that looks like, whether it's speaking in front of a group of 5 people in your office, which is could be your fear, but do it. Like if you get that opportunity, just say yes and figure it out. And if you mess up, you mess up. Like, yeah.
Well, like, yeah, great point in yeah making that, and I'm wondering if those that just saw me, I never done that by the way, where I was like, oh, fear right here in faith. So now everyone who has faith or fear, they're gonna like, oh, remember that person that, yeah. Hopefully that doesn't stick with
Well,
you now. Like, oh, I remember that episode with Josh was like faith on this side, fear on this side, and you're talking. Everyone's gonna be like, who the hell are you talking to?
no, but that's good because it literally is like I think that gave such a good visual and people need visuals, like because that is like, right? If you think about it, that is a typical human mind.
Yeah. So can
Okay,
you
well,
kind of do
this is the
this
great
like,
thing. This is the bad thing. This is the
yeah,
great thing. This is the bad thing.
but don't
Yeah.
do this in
Yeah.
public. Go alone somewhere, like to the bathroom, restroom. So we're gonna be like this.
Have that
Like,
conversation. Yeah. In,
yeah,
in
who is
private. Yeah.
he talking to or is she talking to? Oh, I don't know.
Well, here's the answer to that. Just brush
Yeah,
off the fear. Just brush off the fear. You don't even have to have a conversation. Go full on to the faith and
yeah, just go full.
yeah.
That's some good
Yeah.
stuff. And I want to say, and those viewers, we're gonna watch this. You know that adrenaline, the rush that you get when you're on, well, whatever you do, I don't know, but yeah, when you overcome that fear and you get that rush that hits you, oh God, it's so addicting when you're like, man,
It
what else can I
is.
do? I feel like Superman, about to bust out
Yes.
the S. Yeah, so
Yeah. Yeah, it,
but
it
that,
really is. I mean that's the thing is I'm like once you start to it's okay, so for me, the first like 1 or 2 times that I passed up that opportunity of obedience, when I felt God calling me to do something, and I will say it was early on in my walk and my journey where I felt God asked me to do something seemingly pretty simple now in the grand scheme of things, like, "Hey, we're in church. I'm asking you to go and lay your hands on this person and pray." And I'm like, "Heck no. You out of your mind? I don't even know what I'm doing. I don't know how to pray out loud. I'm definitely not going up to somebody I don't know because you're calling
oh
me to do it. Absolutely not."
wow, oh
And
my
like the second
God,
time was hitting my knees in worship. I mean, I was Catholic. I was just like
God,
you sit, you kneel, you stand,
yeah,
and so going to this new church and seeing people raise their hands and hit their knees, I'm like, this is so weird. And I remember specifically the first time God was like, "Hey, I'm asking you to raise your hands to me in worship," or "Hey, I'm asking you to hit your knees and surrender to me in front of people." And I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't know. How am I going to get back up? I'm wearing heels. I'm wearing, whatever. Like I
how am I
can't.
gonna get back up?
Like it's all the human things, right?
Yeah, right. What about if I
I
fall
mean,
and tumble on the ground?
right,
Like I can't get up.
right. Well, that
You're
I'm
like,
not
oh, the
super,
Holy
like not
Spirit
always
just touched
super
her. She's on the
graceful.
ground.
Right. Right. And so like it was a couple of those moments that I was like,
Oh
I,
God.
I I didn't do it. I didn't do it. I was like, no, I can't. I can't do it. And I let those moments pass. And those moments, those couple of things stuck with me so heavily. And I felt
Really?
so
Wow.
guilty because then there was the next moment where I had another similar experience in church of God asked me to do the same thing. But that time I felt the spirit just say, I was whipped, I bled, I
Mm.
died for you, a perfect, person came down in human
Wow.
form, didn't have to do that, and you can't even lift your hands to me. I
Oh,
forgave you. I took away your bitterness. I took away your shame. I took away everything that you asked me to because I love you and I did it out of love.
wow.
And you can't simply do this for me because you're what worried about what people are going to think of you or how people are going to see you. And that
Yeah.
was it. And I was like, I never want to feel that feeling of
Oh my
disobedience again. And
God.
I hit my knees. And ever since then, if I feel that moment of God calling me to do something, I'm like, I'm doing it because I would rather that than ever have the guilt of disobedience again.
Jeez.
I'm not saying like there's probably haven't been times that I've done it more simply, been disobedient, but and that is part of my book, is and the title is the obedience, because for me, it's such a beautiful thing when God calls you to do something and you say yes, and you have no idea what you're doing. And you like writing this book, no clue. Never written a book before.
Wow.
I'm not an author. And I was just like, okay, but you called me to do it. So if you called me, you're going to lead me. And he did. He did the whole way. So
That's incredible.
I just
Wow.
encourage people to go, if you're whether you're seeking that or you're in that position of you have a relationship with Jesus, but maybe you're like teetering and you're not fully in, that's my encouragement is just to really dive in to the point where you can feel him so strongly and do the hard thing and the scary thing when he's calling you to do it. Because once you start doing that, your relationship with him grows deeper and deeper and deeper. And it gets addictive because you realize how beautiful and precious and amazing it is.
Wow. Well, thank you, Noreen. This has been such a blessing to have you on, and for them to buy your book and get into the journey with
Yeah.
you. What's the Instagram and all the great links?
Yeah, so you can actually go to Amazon and buy it on Amazon. Just search Faith at a Crossroads by
Okay.
Naureen. It'll pop up. It's on Kindle and paperback. And then you can also go to faithwithnoreen.com / hashtag book. And you can buy it directly from my website. I do have a website now that I'm going to put out weekly, bi monthly newsletters. So if you sign up, you'll get two newsletters every month. And then I'm using that as a space also as I work on, into my second book potentially.
Oh,
I'm
is that
using the
exclusive news here on Rhythm and Rose? The second
maybe,
book in the works?
maybe,
Oh my
maybe
God.
it's in maybe we're getting there. In the meantime, I'm using a blog, and just so that when things pop up, when God speaks to me, I can immediately talk to my viewers, my audience. So when you sign up, you also will get notifications for any new blog. That's
Oh,
going to be a
very cool.
little less consistent, but
Yeah.
yeah. So Amazon's probably the number one place to go, but you can also go to the website.
Nice. Very cool. And follow her on Instagram too, guys, on her journey.
Yes, Noreen. Yeah, it's Noreen underscore sells underscore homes.
Okay. Yeah, because you're
Yeah,
also a realtor, right?
I am. Yeah, I am
Yeah,
in real
that's
estate.
cool.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah,
Also,
cool.
yeah, a God journey, but you know what? That's all in the book. So,
Yeah. No, that's cool. Well, it's been such a pleasure to have you on Rhythm and Rose Las
yes.
Vegas, and thanks for the laughs too. And guys,
No, it's
play
been
that
great.
song by DC Talk, Jesus Freak. You'll definitely
Yeah.
enjoy that. Who's
Yeah.
DC Talk? Look them up.
Yeah. Right. Yes.
Yeah,
Yes.
but they're great, by the way.
Uh-huh. Oh, kind of OGs of yeah, like
Oh, heck
the
yeah.
new Jesus movement. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah, yeah.
yeah. Thank
Very
you so
cool.
much. I appreciate this. This was truly an honor and a blessing to get to do this and for us to be connected. And you've been truly amazing. So I thank you so much for
Oh,
that.
well, thanks, Noreen. I mean, you're truly amazing. Just for you to just go out and do this book. That's what I love about this podcast is that just people who go out and just say, I'm going to do it. And whatever happens is
Yeah.
what it is. But I mean, wow, what a blessing to have this incredible book. Your QR codes on there, the journey. So
Yeah.
I really encourage those. Please get a copy, and thank you for sending me a copy as well, Noreen. That was such a
Yeah.
blessing to get. But if you'd like to share
Absolutely.
your story, your testimony on Rhythm and Rose Las Vegas, my Instagram is Joshua Jacob Official. And I believe every story matters. Every story can impact someone's life just by
Mm,
hearing a testimony and being like, man, I needed that. Thank you for sharing your testimony. And so if one person sees it, that's all that matters. So,
that's right.
well, thank you, Noreen. Guys, this is
Thank
Joshua
you.
Jacob with Rhythm and Rose Las Vegas. Thank you for watching. And congrats to those that got the two free books. So there you go.
Yes, we'll announce that after the episode.
Yeah, we will. All right, guys. Talk to you later.
Okay.
Thank you for watching.